Hello, everybody. My name is Zach. You can call me Zach, and I will be your verbally teacher today. Hopefully, get you to learn some English. The topic for today is modal verbs. So we're going to get our hands dirty with a little bit of grammar. A lot of people, when they approach modal verbs, think that they're very difficult, and well, the difficult part is sometimes knowing when to use them and when to use one modal verb instead of another. The easy part is forming them because they're very easy. They don't really conjugate. But anyway, we're going to go over the difficult part today and practice it a lot. So hopefully by the end of the lesson, you'll have a much better grasp of modal verbs. And then I'm going to do a lesson straight after involving some games in which you'll be able to practice some of the modal verbs that we've learned. So I'm just waiting for the rest of the class to fill up. Colin Powell, not Colin Powell, I'm sure. Yeah, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have even said that. Where are you from, Colin?
I'm from Belarus.
Belarus, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
You?
London.
Yeah.
It's a grayish day in London today. This morning.
In Belarus too. It's sunny. It's about 23 degrees.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Apparently there's a 30% chance of rain today. And it's London, so it'll probably increase to 100% at some point. Okay, who else we've got? A lot of new faces actually today, which is good. Vincenzo, nice to meet you. My name is Zach. Where are you from?
Vincenzo, this is the first time with you.
First time, yeah, but you've been with Martin before, is that right?
The first time with you, okay.
Oh, I think we have a bit of a...
I am from Rome, Italy.
Okay, excellent. How's Rome today? Vincenzo, can you hear me? I think we have a poor connection, Vincenzo. I'm sorry about that. Tanya, where are you from? Can anyone hear me?
Oh.
Inga, can you hear me?
Yes, hi.
Yes, hi. I think maybe Tanya and Vincenzo are having problems because they can't. How are you today, anyway?
I'm good. What about you?
I'm perfect, thank you. I did not get enough sleep last night. I went to an Easter ceremony at midnight. My friend is Ukrainian, so we went to a Russian Orthodox church at midnight on the other side of London. And we came home at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Wow.
Oh.
So that's why
so you
I
have
my
to get,
double espresso here.
Yeah, you have to get the rest.
Yes. Okay, so nice to see all of you. Bye.
Okay.
Okay, good.
Okay, nice to meet you.
Yeah, it was very short and sweet, we say, Vincenzo. Short but sweet. Okay, so hi Hazel in the chat. Nice to see you as well. Thanks for coming. So today we're going to do a little bit of grammar. Some of you will already be familiar with what we are doing. We are doing modal verbs, and often you will already be using modal verbs in your English, but it's good to study them alone, separate from everything else, so you just know exactly when the right time is to use them, because sometimes it's not very obvious. You may think you should say might when you should say should, or will when you should say can. It really depends on the context. So today we're going to look at different contexts or areas of meaning for modal verbs and find out which modal verbs you should use in which area of meaning. So I'm going to post a link and we'll get going because we have a lot to get through. If everyone can please, firstly hold on a second. Hopefully my browser's not about to crash. Oh, that would be really annoying. Can you still hear me, everybody?
Yes.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, well, what? Okay. Stop script. I'm going to try that one more time. I have a link that I'm trying to grab and post in the chat. I'll try one more time. Come on, don't do this to me. Okay, I think it's going to work. Please, this link, if you can see that. Yeah, you've got that link. I'll put it in the Google chat too.
Yes, please.
Okay, you guys, can you all open that, please?
Now I see it also in the Verbal chart.
Okay, you have it in both. Excellent. Okay, so we have this open now, do we?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Is it already in the Google chat?
I put it in the Google chat and the Verbally chat, so you should have it in both.
Yeah. Yes.
Oh my God! Every day I seem to have technical issues. My browser is being really, really boring right now. Every time I click between one tab and the other tab, it goes like very, very slowly. But we'll see what we can do. Hopefully it'll work. Okay, so I'm going to ask each of you to read one of the sections, and then after each section, we are going to practice what we just learned, and then we're going to do 2 big practice tests as well, because modal verbs can be split into 2 different groups and main areas in which we use them. So after each one of these areas, which should probably take 20 minutes or 25 minutes to read, we're going to practice all of these examples. Let me just quickly say, it'd be very good if, just to make sure everyone's wearing headphones, please make sure you have a notepad and pen if there's anything useful to learn. You can also keep a link to this document and refer back to it. And please make sure you're working in a quiet environment, because it makes things difficult otherwise for everyone else. Okay, so let's start. I will start the beginning, reading the description of modal verbs, and we will carry on from there. Okay, so modal verbs may sound difficult, but actually they're very easy. Hold on a second. Oh my gosh, this browser issue. Okay, they are invariable, so that means they never change their form. And the main verb is always the bare infinitive. Okay, the infinitive without the word to. So you could say, I should go to the supermarket because I have no milk. So should is the modal verb, and go is the bare infinitive, because you take to go and then you drop the to. Okay. There is one exception here, which is the word ought, but we will come to that later, so you don't need to think about it now. So there are 2 areas we use modal verbs in. One is if we believe something is certain, probable, or possible, or not. Okay? So if something is certain, probable, or possible, or not, then we will use modal verbs. So if we're talking about the area of possibility, what might happen, that's when we will use a modal verb. And the other one is to discuss ability, freedom to act, obligation, and similar ideas to this. Okay? This one is a little bit harder to understand because it sounds a bit vague. But when we come to it, you will see the examples, and you will see it's not actually as difficult as it seems. Okay? All right, so here are the modal verbs. Here's a table of them. We have can, could, and obviously those 2 are related because could is a different form of can. We have may and might, shall and should, will and would, and then we have must and ought after that. Okay? So those are basically the main modal verbs that you need to learn. You probably know some of them already, like I said, but those are the principal ones. I'm going to see. You know what? I'm going to see if everyone can bear with me for a moment, because the browser issue is becoming very annoying, in fact. So I'm going to try and open a new browser and have Verbally in one window and do this in the other window, because right now I'm unable to control the second window. So just bear with me, please. I'm very sorry about this, but as usual, my computer's letting me down. So hold on, this should be fine. Okay, yeah, this is working much better. I just need to open it now. Sorry about this. Intermediate grammar, modal verbs. Okay, I have it open now in the other window. Something's still wrong in this window because I'm supposed to be the main face, but it's Vincenzo. But Vincenzo, I like your face, so it's okay. Okay, so now here are the main points of grammar that we need to know. All right, questions, tags or short tags, and short answers that normally use do not use this with modal verbs. Okay, so if you say, do you play the piano, normally, in which we invert the subject and the operator, the verb to do, normally you say, do you play the piano? If you want to use a modal verb like can, then you remove do. You do not say, do you can play the piano? You just say, can you play the piano? Okay? And this is something that you will pick up very quickly because it sounds much more natural to say, can you play the piano, than to mix these two verbs, you know, can and do. Because modal verbs are also auxiliary verbs. Okay? They're helper verbs, and you don't have two auxiliaries in this way together, where you would say, do you can play the piano. So that's the first point. They do take the bare infinitive, like I said. You drop the to, but they can also be used with progressive, perfect, and passive infinitives. And here are three examples. One is, I may be trying too hard. Okay, be trying is the progressive infinitive. He was so happy he could have kissed her. That's the perfect infinitive. It's happened in the past. It already happened. The building ought to be demolished. That's the passive infinitive. Okay, it's passive construction. So that's just something else to bear in mind. It's the second grammar point. And then the verbs need and used to are often used in similar ways to modal verbs, even though they are not modal verbs. So we can talk about them at the end if we have time, but you can see that they needn't worry too much, or we used to come here a lot. Okay? So those are the main grammar points to get out the way about modal verbs. There are a few other ones, but those are the most important. And now we're going to actually jump right in and look at the two different contexts in which we use modal verbs and which ones we will use in each. Okay, so now I'm going to ask somebody to read. Inga, could you start us off, please, and read the first section, modal usage first context, and then write down until probability.
Okay. The meanings of modal verbs can be divided into two main groups. The first context deals with degrees of certainty. That is to say whether certain states of affairs are certain, probable, possible, or impossible. Possibility: could, might, and may. These are used when something is not certain but possible. In the future, for example, I could end up being very late if I do not leave now. They might arrive next week, but I'm not sure. We may just skip desert this time. And nota bene, could and might express weaker possibility than may. Can. This is used to make general statements of possibility. For example, it can be very hard to learn English sometimes, other times it can be easy.
Okay, other times it can be easy. All right, so this is the possibility area that we're talking about. This is something's not definite, it's not impossible, it's just possible. So now let me ask you for some examples. I'll pick on Adams. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can. Good morning.
How are you doing? Good morning. So I'm going to ask you for some possibilities of things that may or might or could happen to you in the near future. If you could just use what we just learned and just give me a few statements of, maybe tell the class something about yourself using those modal verbs.
Say examples about code.
Using one of those words.
Okay, I could have been a doctor if I studied more, something like that,
Yeah, exactly. You can use it in the past. I could have been a doctor. Perfect. Let me ask Colin, can you give us another example? Using a different modal verb about possibility?
Okay. So difficult.
Just anything about yourself.
Okay.
Go for it. Just say anything.
Okay. So I may find a good job in Moscow.
I may find a good job in Moscow. Okay, good. And that's a bit stronger than saying I might find a good job. Saying I may find it makes it sound a little bit more likely that you will.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Okay, very good. Frank, can you give us one more?
Okay, I'll try. It might end up raining later.
Excellent. It might end up raining later. Perfect. It's possible. We have no idea. And then I'm going to ask for one more. Servet, how are you?
Yes, I'm good, thanks.
Good. Nice to see you again.
Thanks.
Can you give us an example using the modal verb can?
Can, about probability, yes.
Possibility, not probability.
Okay. The weather is awesome here. I can go out after the class.
No. Say that one more time, sorry.
The weather is sunny here, so I can go out after the class.
Okay, that is a modal verb, and you used it correctly, but in a different context. Okay, so that was about ability, but we're talking about possibility here. So if you look at the example there, it says it can be very hard to learn English. At other times, it can be easy. So do you understand this is a different meaning to the meaning you just gave? Because you just said, when it is sunny outside, I can go outside. And this means you have the ability to go outside, but this is nothing to do with possibility, right? Okay. It can be easy to learn English. That's its possibility. It may or might be. It might not. An easy way to think is, can I substitute or can I replace this word with might or something like or could? Not always. You won't always be able to, but in a lot of cases you can. So what do you think? Do you want to try again?
I can try this a little bit more. We don't have any cloud in the sky. It cannot turn out being rainy.
No. It's a good try again, but not it cannot. I'm not sure what you're trying to say there. It cannot turn out being rainy.
So it cannot rain because there is no cloud. There's no possibility to be rainy.
Yeah, but then you would say it won't rain. It will not rain. You would use the verb. Well, raining is the verb. Can you think of another example? It's not right, unfortunately. Because if you say it cannot rain, it means it does not have the ability to rain. But the subject is it, so you don't really talk about it being able to rain or not being able to rain. Try one. So it can be hard to learn English. It can say it can be. It can.
For example, maybe they said on the TV, we don't have enough rain this year, so our our water supply can be stopped?
Perfect. Yes. What do you mean a water supply can be stopped? Oh, I see. Okay. No, that's not right. It's not actually perfect. Sorry, it's the same thing. It's the ability again. Think of the way you're using can.
But it's not ability. It can be stopped, or it not its probability. Maybe if it
possibility.
possible.
Okay, let me give you some more examples. So it can be hard to. That's the one I use. It can be. Okay, it can be very difficult to walk if you do not wear shoes. Right? This means it may be difficult, it may not be difficult. You see?
Yes.
So something like this. It can be, maybe say it can be hard, it can be easy, it can be exciting, it can be sad. It can be sad if. Finish a sentence like that.
Okay. It can be hard to live if you don't have a job.
Perfect. It can be hard to live if you don't have a job. You see, because then you're not using the verb can to talk about ability. You're just talking about possibility. Okay? So it's a general statement about possibility. Okay, good. Very good. All right, let's go on to the next section now. Probability. I'm going to ask Vincenzo, can you read the next section? Vincenzo, are you with us? Vincenzo, I can't actually hear you. Can anyone else hear Vincenzo?
No.
Wait, ecco. Okay.
Okay, there we go.
Excuse me, I have a question for you.
Yes.
About may, might, and can.
Okay.
You can use each, or either might or either can. Can is much more about possibility, and might, but it was told me that may is used for probability.
No, probability. Coming on to. I'm about to ask you to read about probability. Might is still possibility. Okay.
Still possibility.
Yeah, so if you look at the example, they might arrive next week, but I am not sure. This is saying like it's like 50% likely. I don't know. It might happen. It might not.
But it's possible.
But it's possible. Exactly.
Always possible. Okay.
Yeah, only possible, but you're not making a judgment one way or the other if it's going to happen. Okay, if you say may, so in the example I gave, we may skip dessert. This can mean actually a little bit more likely. Okay.
Yes.
Still not really likely, but it's saying there's a good chance we're going to skip dessert if you say may instead of might or could.
Yes, but can is not more about ability than the non-probability.
No, it's still making general statements about possibility. It can be very hard to learn English. It sometimes is the case. Sometimes it is very hard. So when you think of can, you should be able to put the word sometimes in instead. Okay. So so in this example, you can say sometimes it is hard to learn English. Sometimes it is.
But when I say can you learn English, I mean, do you have the possibility to learn English or not?
No, then you're using can in a different way to talk about ability. And we're going to come on to that in the next section. So it will maybe be clearer for you when we've done everything.
Okay.
This is the tricky thing about modal verbs is that sometimes you will use the same one, but in a different meaning or a different context. So that's why we're doing it now, so we can be sure about which meaning we have in each case. Okay? It's confusing sometimes, but we'll get there.
Okay. So I keep going on.
Yes.
Keep going on.
Yeah.
Allora, probability, should, ought. We use this expression when we have good reason for our statements or beliefs. Example, I should start raining later. It should start raining later. I read the weather forecast.
I read it. I read the weather forecast.
I read the weather forecast. They ought not to have trouble completing the challenge.
Okay, excellent. So first thing to say is that the verb ought, when you say ought, it will always take to. This is the one exception to the bare infinitive rule that I said earlier. Whenever you see ought, you always put the preposition to before the bare infinitive.
Yes,
okay?
Yes.
So ought to or ought not to. And oughtn't here means ought not, okay? So here is when something is likely, okay? So now I'm going to ask some of you to tell me something that is likely or not likely to happen for you next week, okay? Next week. Let me ask Frank to begin with, if you could use either should or ought to give me an example.
Okay. Let's say this. I should miss out an interesting meeting about alternative medicine downtown because of my work shifts next week.
That's a good try, but no. If you said what you should miss out. No, you need to use the dummy subject like it. Say it should, not I should.
It should.
Yeah.
It should miss out an interesting meeting about alternative medicine.
No, try again. Not in the same example. So.
Another one.
Yes.
My friend.
You should not. Yeah.
Okay, with another sentence.
Yes. Yeah. You could say. You get to start again. My friend.
My friend should have an interesting chance about the job.
Yes, that's good. Okay, it's not entirely grammatically correct, but you're using the modal verb in the right way. So you're saying, my friend should have an interesting interview next week, for example. Okay? My friend should have an interesting interview next week. This means it is likely he will have an interesting interview. Okay? Or you could say, my friend should be coming to visit me next week. This means it is likely, it is probable that he will be coming. Okay? Hazel, can you try and give us another example, maybe using ought?
Okay. It oughtn't be too difficult, the IELTS exams, if you've learned a lot.
Okay. Yes, but then you would say,
shouldn't. I would.
No. Ought is fine, but you use the dummy subject when you should actually use the exams as the subject. So you should say the exams.
The exam wouldn't be too difficult if you've prepared well.
Enough. Very good. Perfect. The exams ought not be too difficult if you have prepared well. So if you have done this, then it is likely or probable that the exams will not be too difficult. Okay? Very good examples, both of you guys. Good. All right, so now we have probability covered. And now we're on certainty, which is the last one. So let's do certainty. Who's going to read this? Andrew, are you with us? Andrew?
Yeah.
Hey, where are you from, Andrew?
I'm from Russia.
Okay. A dummy subject, by the way, Sam just asked in the chat, is when you do not have a subject of the sentence and you have to use a word like it. So when you say it is raining, that means there is no one is doing the raining, but it is happening. But there is a verb, and the verb must have a subject. So then you use the word it instead, and you only use it at times when there is no other subject in the sentence. So Hazel just then said it oughtn't be difficult with the exams, but the exams were perfect as a subject there. So I asked her to change it to the exams ought not be too difficult if you have prepared enough. So a dummy subject is just like a substitute.
It's like
Sorry, what about my example? I've written in post. I've written in chat box.
Which one? Let me see.
Can I say like trees should blossom next week?
Yes, perfect. Excellent example. The trees should blossom next week because normally they do, so it is likely. The sun should rise tomorrow. The sun should rise tomorrow. Okay? Or the sun ought to rise tomorrow. You can use these two interchangeably normally, one or the other. Okay, so let's do certainty now.
Excuse me, teacher. Can I say something?
Yes.
Is it possible? Is it possible to have with the same example all the possibility of this modal verb? So you choose a phrase, and this phrase change accordingly to the modal verb in this case.
I don't think so. No, because
in order to see the difference that change differently.
Yeah, I know what you mean. In some cases, in some cases, yes. So if,
yes.
Yeah, I understand. It makes it much. It makes it much easier, of course, if you can have the same sentence and you can see that how the meaning of it changes. If you, I'm going to say no, but I think in a lot of cases you can. So we'll try. We'll do this last. We'll do this last section, and then I'll see if we can do that with one of our sentences. I think it might be possible. Okay. So let's do certainty. Andrew, if you could read certainty for us, please.
Okay. Certainty. Shall, must. We use this to express positive certainty. For example, I'll be collecting all of your answers to the quiz at the end of this section. It must be a different type of bread you are thinking of. Will. This can be used to express positive or negative certainty. For example, it won't happen unless I allow it to. We use the negative form cannot or couldn't in the past to indicate something is. Should I keep? Okay. To indicate something is impossible. For example, you cannot be serious. That couldn't be true. It just didn't end up.
That could not or that couldn't be true. It just did not add up. Okay, so Vincenzo, we'll take the example at the top. I shall be collecting all of your answers to the quiz at the end of this section. Now, first thing to say is shall is a modal verb, but in American, it's mostly British English. In American English, they will usually say will instead, okay? And you can only use shall in the first person, singular and plural. So I shall, we shall, okay?
We shall, yes.
Yeah.
Yes, because it's about willing.
Yes,
it's more about willing, mostly about willing. Yes.
Yeah. So here we'll try an example, Vincenzo. I shall be collecting all of your answers to the quiz. This is certain. There's not possible. It's not probable. This will happen. It will happen. Then we could say I should be collecting. I should be collecting. That's correct. And that means I will probably be collecting. Okay, so now we're going backwards.
Yes.
Shall 100%. I should or I ought to be.
100%, yes.
Yeah, that's like 75% maybe we can say. It's likely, but not certain.
I know. Yes. And also that the shall. Yes, shall is also used in order to request approbation. I do say.
This is coming in, Vincenzo, you're jumping ahead. This is coming in the next section, so we're coming to this. But so now we can say I shall, definitely. I should means I probably will be. I should be doing something, but it's not certain. And you could also say I could or I might be collecting for possibility. Okay? So now this is good. In this case, yes, you can actually use all of the modal verbs for this group of meaning for the same sentence, and you can see the difference now. Okay, I will.
Excuse me. Excuse me. Will is stronger than shall. Is it?
No. No.
Will is.
No. In this case, they are not. It is not stronger. I shall is the same as I will. It's going to happen. You cannot be stronger than 100%. If shall is 100% and will is 100%, they are the same.
It must too.
For example, if a friend says I have to do this work, I can say I will help you. It's in order to say I surely help you. No, I surely will help you.
Yes, but Vincenzo, you can also say I shall help you. It means the same thing. 100%. I shall help you. I shall help you. But I will is more common. If you're studying American English, then you will only hear this, so you can just stick to I will. It's no problem.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. We're going to, instead of asking you for some examples, we're going to skip straight to the quiz for this section, okay? Because we're a little bit behind, which is my fault. And hold on a second. So everyone, please open this link now, next to the last one. I'll put it in the Google chat too. Tell me when you have it open.
You need permission.
You need permission. You should have. Okay, hold on a second. Okay, hold on 1 second. Sorry about this. Modal verbs. I think. What
we
about?
need permission.
No, I know. Just 1 second. Sorry. Okay, this one should be fine. Bear with me. This link here. Okay.
Okay, now it's fine.
Okay. Okay, so now here's a quiz. We have 9. We're going to go through very quickly. We have to be really quick now. So don't. If you're taking too long, then just say I pass or take a guess. Okay.
Sure.
But this is to test everything we've just learned, the degrees of possibility. All right. So the first one. He told me he would get in touch when he arrived. He something have called by now.
He must have called by now.
Okay, I'm going to ask you guys to do it one at a time, but that's no problem, Hazel. He must have called by now, no, because that's 100%. And if he is obviously not called.
Might.
So I'm going to ask.
Might. Or should.
Yes, it's should. Because you're saying the person is upset that they have not called, so he's saying he should have called by now, right? Probably he was supposed to. It's probability, right? He was supposed to call. Why has he not called? Because probability-wise, he was supposed to call. Okay, so that's the first one. He should have called by now. That's the probability. Then the second one. I don't know if what you said about drugs being good for you is right. Let me ask Colin.
Yeah.
You something be wrong. Just remember, just take a guess. Don't take too long about it. Look at the document and take it. You know, if you're not sure, just take a guess.
I think maybe could.
No, because you're saying to someone, if it's could, then it's possible. Well, you could say could. You could be wrong, but it's a bit more stronger than that. It's a bit stronger than that. Because you're doubting somebody, right? So you're saying it's probable. You want to take another guess?
It's hard.
Okay, I'm going to pass it on to someone else. Hazel, what do you think?
Oh, it's very difficult. I'm not sure, but I'll try. I don't know. You have to be wrong?
No, it's got to be one of the modal verbs we've been learning.
You must,
Yeah.
no?
You might be.
Yes, okay, it can be might or must.
Must.
Must means you must be wrong. This is like you have to be wrong, like Hazel just said. So you could say have to, but in this case must is correct. Or you might be wrong, you may be wrong, which is a little bit less strong, okay? And actually, whoever said could, it's correct. You can say could, but the feeling here is that the person is doubting you, right? I don't know if what you said about drugs is right. I think you're probably wrong. And so you want to be a bit stronger. So may, like we said, may is it's still possibility, but it's stronger than could or might. So you want to say you may be wrong, or you could just say you must be wrong, which is 100% certainty. You must be wrong. Probably may or might. Some of these have more than one answer, by the way. Sedat, if you could use the other Google chat, actually maybe you are using it. Okay, so the third one, that something be true. I've heard something different from everyone else whom I've asked. Let me ask Inga, what do you think of that one?
That shouldn't be true.
No. If you're look at the second, you have to look at the rest of the sentence for context.
Could not be true.
Yeah. Yes. Or what else? What else?
Not. Or cannot.
Yes, that's the best one. That cannot be true. Okay? Because you're saying impossible. I have heard everyone else I have asked has told me something else. So that cannot be true. It is not possible. You wouldn't really say couldn't in this case because it's not in the past and it's not like a conditional. You would say that cannot be true. Okay? I haven't won the lottery once in 10 years. Something happened one day, but who knows? Who knows?
Might.
Must.
Guys, wait till I ask you,
Yes,
please.
Yes. Sorry.
But Hazel's correct. It might, not must. Who said must?
Me.
Why did you think must?
Just one day.
Yeah, but it must. If it must happen one day, because he says who knows, right? He says something happens one day, but who knows? Who knows means I don't know, you don't know. It means it's possibility. So Hazel said might, which is correct.
May I say could also?
Yes, could is correct as well. Yes, you can say might or should.
Should?
No, because he says who knows. If you say who knows in English, this is a way of expressing uncertainty.
Yeah, should is also uncertain. It's not certain. Should.
Yeah. You can't say it's probable. It's not going. I mean, it should happen one day. You could say it. You could say that, but it's not. It's not logical, right? If he hasn't won in 10 years, it's the lottery. The whole point about the lottery is that you're not likely to win. It's just possible. Does everyone understand?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. We're going to ask you one more. And by the way, you can make a copy of this document and fill them out yourself if you want. I've told you so many times to stop asking me to do that. Something happened. Servet, what do you think?
Did we miss one?
Yes, we did. I'm sorry, but that's okay. We're not going to have time to do all of them anyway. So let's just try and do this one. Thank you. I'm talking to someone and I'm saying, I have told you to stop asking me. Something happened.
What is it?
It is the dummy subjective. Take a guess.
And they say like it's so abstract. I'm not sure. Stop asking me to do that. It can't happen. It won't. It shall.
It won't happen. It won't happen. Exactly.
It cannot.
Okay. Cannot happen. It can't happen is correct as well. It can't happen is correct. but more likely it will not, because can't is still a little bit about, it has the nuance of ability, but it will not happen stronger. It's impossible. Impossible.
How
Okay?
about shall not?
No, because remember, shall is just first and third person.
Okay.
Sorry, first person, singular and plural. So this is a dummy subject, so you can't use shall with that. Okay, good. We're going to move on to the second context. Do we all have something of a better idea now of these degrees of probability?
Yes.
I hope so. If you go over, you can keep this document, you can keep the other one, you can make copies in Google Documents and read over it again and again and practice and ask me any questions you have. Okay, so we're going to look at the second context now. So go back to the modal verbs. Okay, and I'm going to ask Colin, could you read for us, please?
Yeah.
Up until permission and prohibition.
The second meaning of modal verbs is concerned with the ideas of obligation, freedom to act, and ability. Ability, can, could. We use these modal verbs to express a skill or ability. For example, the Transformers can turn from robots into vehicles. I couldn't hear your voice because you were talking so quietly. You can learn to remember modal verbs if you just try hard enough.
Okay, very good. Let me ask Hazel, can you tell me about something that you can do? Give me an ability that you have. We're going to be doing this in the next lesson a lot more, actually, but just give me, throw anything out there.
Okay. If I try hard, I can learn reading Arabic.
Yes, I can learn to read Arabic.
I can learn to read Arabic.
Okay. Let's ask Frank, can you give me another example of something you could do? Now, a way to do this is to use the subjunctive and say, if I were something, something, and this is about conditional, this is like a conditional, then I could do something.
Okay. Do I have to use if I were?
No, you can say if it. There's other ways to do it too.
Okay. My example is this. I'm going to use can. Okay.
Sure.
For example, I can work very fast if we have an emergency at work.
You can work or walk very fast.
Work. I can work very fast.
If we have
an emergency at work.
Work. I can walk. Emergency at work. I would. No, because if we had. You should say then, I could walk very fast if we had an emergency at work.
Mm-hmm.
I could walk very fast if we had. That's close. Yeah.
Possibility in general.
Because if you use, but if you're using can, it should be in the present.
Okay.
And you're not talking. Conditional is not really the present. If something happened, because it's not happening. So do you want to do another example in the present?
I can read a lot of books in a week.
Yes, very good. I can read a lot of books in a week. Perfect. Okay, let's do the next one. It's permission and prohibition. I'm going to ask Adams, can you read this section for us?
Yes, sure. Permission and prohibition. Can, could, may, might. We use these modal verbs to request or grant permission to do something. Can we play outside now that we have practiced modal verbs, teacher? Could I please go out now that I have?
Sorry.
I did it.
No, that was my mistake. There should be an I in there. Now that I have tidied the house.
Now that I have tidied the house. Could and may. Equals more polite. Must not, may not, cannot. We use these to express an instruction not to do something. We must not be too hard on ourselves. We cannot drink until we are 85 in this country. You may not smoke in many public places nowadays.
Okay, excellent. So let me ask Servet, can you come up with a request of something you would like to do in this class and use a modal verb? Maybe something you could bring or wear, or come up with a request. So ask me something.
Can I sing a song in this class?
Yes,
Hopefully.
go ahead. You have my permission. Okay, that's good. Now, Frank, can you give me a more polite request for the class?
Okay. Could I ask one more question about the first use of modal verbs?
Perfect. Now go ahead and ask the question. Do you have a question?
No, it was only for example.
Oh, I see. Okay, it was a very good example. And let me ask for something. Inga, can you tell me something that you are not allowed to do at work? That you're not given permission to do.
I mustn't use social networks at work.
Okay, I mustn't use Facebook, Twitter at work. Very good. Okay, this one's quite a simple usage for modal verbs. So we have two more, and then we're going to finish up. We have weak obligation. Who hasn't read recently? Juan Marcos, I'm sorry, I've been neglecting you slightly. Can you read the next section for us, please?
Yes.
When you're ready.
Weak obligation.
Yep.
Should, ought, might, shall. These are all used to make a suggestion or recommendation. For example, you should really come to all of my verbing lessons if you ever hope to learn English. We really ought to figure out how to get rid of this arrogant teacher. He might benefit from learning some humility. Shall we give up on him then?
Okay.
Okay, I say not shall can only be used in question in this context and only in the first and third period.
First and third person. And that was a mistake. It's not the first. It's the first person singular and plural. So I'm changing that now. I'm sorry. First person. I shall. Okay. So this is to make a suggestion or a recommendation to someone. All right. So I'm going to ask you if you can. Okay, so make a suggestion to how you can improve your English. Make one to yourself. You can say it. And I'm going to ask Vincenzo. Can you do that to begin with? Vincenzo? You're muted again.
I am switching on my microphone at the moment.
Okay.
Because I must move from one window to another. Do you want me to make to do an example with might?
Yeah.
Might I benefit from learning English or Spanish?
No, that's using it in a different way. That's using it for permission, right?
Permission.
Yes, but we just covered that. Now we're making requests or suggestions.
Permission. Yes. Shall I go to the bathroom, please?
No, we just did permission, Vincenzo. Now we're doing weak obligation. So we're doing suggestions and requests and things like this. So shall I?
Should I open the window?
Actually, sorry. Yes, you're right. Shall I open the window? Oh, you said. What did you say before? Shall I go to the bathroom?
Yes, shall I go to the bathroom?
Yeah, that's fine. Actually, I'm very sorry. That's fine. Shall I go to the bathroom? Shall I open the window? This is a suggestion. You're not asking, but normally you wouldn't. It wouldn't be a suggestion to go to the bathroom. Normally, you would just say, "May I go to the bathroom?"
May I go?
Yeah, I can't tell you if you need to go to the bathroom or not. So it's a funny suggestion to make.
Well, I had to go to the bathroom before.
Yes. So normally you would say, "May I?" or "Can I?" or "Might I?" Right, to request permission. But
it's not. Shall is not used in this way.
No.
Shall is not used.
No. Shall is used is to make a suggestion. So, like you just said, it is hot inside here. Shall I open the window? Shall I open the window? That's asking. You're not asking for permission. You're requesting or suggesting it. Yeah. It's like a recommendation, like, should I do this? Is this a good idea? You could say should as well. Should I open the window? Ought I open the window? Ought I to open the window? Might I open the window? Okay? We're going to move straight on to the last one because we're kind of running out of time. The last one is strong obligation. And I'm going to ask Frank, can you read the last section?
Okay. Strong obligation. Must, will. We use these to express a firm instruction or obligation. Example, you must be driven in order to succeed in life. You will not eat the chocolate cake unless I say you can.
Okay, perfect. You must be driven in order to succeed in life.
Must be
driven. Okay, so this is if you're giving an instruction to someone or you're saying something has to be the case or it cannot be the case. So I'm going to ask if you can give me examples of something you must or have something you must or will do in order to prepare for your day. When you get up in the morning, something that has to happen before you can get ready. Hazel, can you give me an example?
I must drink a coffee in order to be able to work.
Yeah, perfect. I must drink a coffee. Can Juan Marcos, can you give me another example? Juan Marcos, are you there? Okay, he's been very quiet. Servet, can you give me an example?
Yes, we must brush our teeth every day.
You can both give me an example, one after the other. Go, Juan, give me one first.
I must take a shower in order to feel awake.
Very good. And Servet, go ahead.
We must brush our teeth after every meal, not to lose our teeth.
Excellent. Very good. Both good examples. Okay, excellent. So now we're going to do the quiz. We'll just go a few minutes over. Modal quiz is, if everyone scrolls down to the second quiz, second context, okay? All right, so hold on a second. Okay, first one. Adams, can you try the first one? We something leave our seat or Zach will eject us from the class.
We should leave our seats or Zach will eject us out of the...
No, because if you leave think about what you're saying. If you leave your seat, then why will I, it's an either or. So if you leave your seat, then I don't need to eject you from the class because you've left your seat.
We shouldn't?
Yeah, yes.
Yeah, we shouldn't, sorry, yeah, okay.
But hold on.
Yeah.
I think it's stronger than that. It's stronger. We shouldn't leave our seat is okay, but it seems to me that you would say it's more like a command, an order. So what if you wanted to be stronger than that? What would you say?
We must not.
Yes, excellent, very good. We must not leave our seats, or Zach will eject us from the class, unless you have to go to the toilet, like Vincenzo did. Okay, the next one. You don't look so great. You put some makeup on. Inga, what do you think?
You should put.
Yes.
Yeah, a bit louder.
Should put.
Yeah. You should. You are making a suggestion to someone. You do not look so great. You should put some makeup on. So this is the second one we have.
Suggestion.
Yes, suggestion.
Suggestion.
Yeah, you should put some makeup on.
Excuse me, teacher. Do I have another modal verb in order to express I had to go to the bathroom, or in order not to use had?
You can say I needed to go to the bathroom.
Okay, thank you.
It's not really a modal verb, but you can say I needed to as well.
Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so the next one, we're going to do a couple more and then we'll have to wrap up. Something, go ahead and eat some carrots. Go ahead and eat some carrots. Colin, can you try that one?
Yeah. Can I go ahead and eat some carrots?
Yes, or may I go ahead and eat some carrots? Permission, exactly. Strong winds, something, cause serious road accidents. Strong winds, something, cause serious road accidents. Hazel.
Strong winds could cause serious road accidents.
Yes, or can.
Or might. Or might? No.
Or might, yes. Actually, you can use, there are lots of different ones you can use in this one. Yeah.
Okay.
Might, it depends what you're trying to say, but generally, can is good because they have the ability, right? It's like an ability, but it's also a statement about possibility. You want to say might if you wanted to say it's possible but not probable, so you can use a few different ones here.
What is the difference between possible and probable?
Probable means it's likely to happen. Possible means you don't know one way or the other.
Oh, okay.
Okay. Okay. They something never understand why he was always so happy. They something never understand why he was always so happy.
They will never.
No. Would is not here. Would is not a modal verb. It's a conditional. So what sounds like would?
I think he said will, not.
No.
He will never understand.
No. What sounds like would?
Might not?
Does might sound like would?
No, but it works with the sentence.
They could.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't work. I don't think it works. Hold on.
They could never.
No. Yeah, they could never understand. Right?
Could.
Yeah, because could might never understand why he was always so. You could say might, but it's much more likely to say could because it's talking about ability here, right? They were never able to understand.
Okay.
Okay, that's why you'd say could. And ability, you don't say might. They were never able to understand. You could say they might never understand, but that's generally talking in the present or the future. But and it's not talking about their ability. It's just saying they won't understand.
Okay, thank you. Yes, it's very clear.
Okay, good. You something not get ahead unless you work hard and eat your vegetables. Get ahead means to succeed in life.
You cannot.
Yes, you cannot get ahead. You are not able to. It's ability. You cannot get ahead unless you work hard and eat your vegetables. I love their performances. They really something to put on more plays.
Out.
Yes, very good. Whoever shouted that. They ought to put on new plays. It's suggestion. It's a suggestion. I want them to. They really should. But you could say should as well. They really should. No, you can't say should.
Sorry,
okay. You cannot say should because the preposition to is there. So you have to use ought. They really ought to put on more plays. I've studied karate for 10 years.
Yes.
I've studied karate for 10 years. I something now kill a man just by looking at him.
Ability, can.
Yes. Exactly.
Excuse me, teacher. So we have to distinguish if a possibility depends on the person himself or the time or something else in order to use these modal verbs.
The main thing you're looking at is the context that we're the context that we're talking about, right? If we're talking about possibility, if we're talking about obligation, so, and then beyond that you can use time sometimes, but it depends on the modal verb, because you have to give me an example.
Yes.
Yeah.
Because you have introduced ability, yes.
Yeah.
To this, the topic ability.
Yeah.
Ability.
We're going to be. It's a good one to carry on, because we're going to. I have to end the lesson because we're a little bit over time now.
Okay.
But take a look at everything we've learned. Send me any messages on Facebook if something's not clear and I can help. But if you look at these examples, it should help to clarify things and make them clear. Hopefully now you feel like you're a bit more confident using them. And I will have another lesson right away. We're going to be talking about abilities and advice. So we're going to be giving suggestions to people which use modal verbs, and we're going to be talking about abilities. So we're going to say can, could, those kinds of things. So it'll be a bit more practice for you if you want. But thank you very much for coming. I hope you all learned something, and I will see you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, bye.
Bye-bye, guys. Take care. Bye.